So NUS is about interdisciplinarity, it's about systems approach, and no better way to illustrate what we mean than to be here in this wonderful environment of SDE1, 3, because here is a classic example of how NUS, as part of its sustainability plan, had the vision and the knowledge to be able to design SDE1, 3 to be net zero or even positive energy buildings. And it's a great demonstration to the world, to industry. This is what's possible.
We strongly believe that the aspiration of the project can inspire increased awareness of technology, design, environment, and sustainability in our graduates. Singapore, being a small island city-state, intimately connected to the world through commerce, technology, and climate, needs an adaptable society, savvy about diversity, technology, and environment.
Two different aspects of our curriculum and our research in order to provide the appropriate solutions to the architecture to meet the needs of the program. So this is again a very unique sort of cross-disciplinary platform for us to experiment and explore, both in terms of the architectural and humanistic design approach, but at the same time meeting very, very stringent technical requirements to deliver this well and green concept.
I think we have shown a very important way of dealing with renovation of buildings, because as we all know, Singapore is now maturing as a society with a lot of existing buildings, and it's only a matter of time that these buildings need renovation instead of demolition and rebuild. So by retaining the structure, you are retaining the history of the building. History not only in terms of the physical artifact, but also the memories within this building. So in our SDE3, for example, the students working there will remember that some of their very eminent architects actually work in those same spaces that they are working in now.
The fact that we are able to come back and reuse it in such a new way, and also find a new mission to perpetuate the use of this fabric, I think is something that's very noteworthy. And I think it's a very important aspect of the character of this new intervention. When you look at these buildings, you really have to think about how we have also adapted the buildings in the way we teach. And so what we see as a new building today is a continual process of adapting to those changes.
In architecture, thinking, designing, creating, and making is just one whole process, a holistic process. And so the making and thinking will come together, and that is how it is reflected in the space where the studio is right next to the workshop, and you can just move seamlessly between the two spaces. And I think that is very important to have a space that is very open, that allows for this inter-year, interdisciplinary learning to take place.
In the design of SDE1 and 3 was the kind of change of the role of the architect. From rather than someone who adds or develops and puts in new material, really the role was to change to more of a kind of archaeologist. So the first removal, of course, was the removal of all of the antiquated air conditioning systems and lighting systems, which opened up a tremendous volume of space that was inherent in the building, but concealed by 40 years of stuff.
I think we've just unleashed the beauty that was always there. The opportunity that the renovation provided was first to turn the clock back, to kind of reverse the chaos of the decades that had passed since it was first built, and to restore to the occupants of the buildings a sense of comfort and health.
For example, there is attention to site development in the way in which the landscape design emulates the diverse functionality of local habitats and ecosystems. The project will also be probably one of the earliest development in Singapore to achieve a WELL certification for adaptive reuse project, demonstrating that the quality of a healthy building design can also be expanded and achieved in a renovation project as well.
So for SDE1 and 3 now, we're talking about net zero energy building. So I think that if you combine all these different values, we're really showing the building industry that we don't need to demolish. We can be doing renovation and adding all these values to it.
The main features to get to net zero for SDE1 and SDE3 was improving the passive design of the buildings. And we expect energy savings of about 20% just by improving the passive design of the buildings. We have a large network of air quality sensors which measure different parameters, temperature, humidity, CO2, and we can learn how the space is used. We get a lot of data, insightful data, how the space is used, and this allows us to better control the space.
I'd like to think that the things that we've done here have actually paved the way for policy, meaning it's made policymakers more confident that it can be done. And it can be done in a way that is cost effective.
At the end of the day, to be able to tackle complex urban problems, it cannot just be done by government alone. It cannot just be done by the university alone. It has to be with industry and even with the community, right? It is a big challenge. From my experience, these things are not so easily done, right? But we've gained a little bit of lessons over the years in Singapore, and I think we hope to be able to apply some of these ideas at NUS Cities.